Hey guys, Pieguyrulz here. Merry Nickmas. As Told by Ginger is a show that was critically acclaimed and fairly revolutionary for having story arcs. The characters actually changed their clothes, the characters developed, the writing was pretty good, and also it dealt with some deeper themes like depression, and it handled it very well for a children's cartoon. Also, it was only the second time there was a female protagonist to a Nicktoon behind The Wild Thornberrys. It was groundbreaking and great in a lot of ways. Why do I say all this? Because I didn't like the Christmas special. I'll explain why after I talk about the story. So Ginger discovers that she's 1/4 Jewish and decides she wants to celebrate Hanukkah this year instead of Christmas. As Christmas draws nearer, though, she changes her mind and wants to celebrate both. However, she works really hard to ensure that both holidays are equally represented, resulting in a fire and a lot of stress on her part. Meanwhile, Carl doesn't believe in Santa Claus because every year he wishes that his dad will come to visit, and every year he doesn't. Hoodsy wants to change this, so he goes up to a corner street Santa, thinking it might be the real Santa, and tells him his problem. Turns out, of course, that Santa is Carl's long-lost father, and he has to make a decision whether or not he's going to actually show up on Christmas and make Carl's wish come true. Alright, now that that's through, I'm going to rip this band-aid off as fast as I can, because I know I'm going to get a bunch of comments about this, but I gotta say it. I don't remember if it's just this episode or the entire series. I don't seem to have a memory of the rest of the series being like this, but holy cow, the voices for every single character grated on my ears. Everyone has a raspy voice or a high-pitched voice that cracks. It's just so obnoxious. Ginger's voice is probably the worst of them all, and I'm not knocking the voice actors. I'm really not. It really bugged me. It was realistic in that, yeah, I believe that they were kids, but holy cow, did it just distract me from this episode. May as well get my nitpicking out of the way here, too. Alright, so Carl reminds me of pretty much Bart Simpson. Like, I can't not see Bart Simpson when I look at him, but, you know, not yellow. And I don't mean they look alike, I just mean, like, he's the character archetype kind of down to a T. I remember liking Carl as a kid. I don't know what happened, man. I really can't not see Bart Simpson, and it's just really annoying. Also, Hoodsy says Carl like 98 times per minute in any conversation he has with Carl, and he always draws out the Carl like you'd expect him to be some sort of llama with a hat. Oh, and this isn't a complaint, but they actually mention the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade by name. Most cartoons don't mention anything by name. Props to them. And my last nitpick here is maybe something you guys can relate to, but after so many years recently of people claiming that, oh, Christmas is being taken away by political correctness, or, oh, you know, the holidays have to be even, or this or that, just, you know, nitpicking over what's in the title, you know, someone saying Happy Holidays to you instead of Merry Christmas, people nitpicking and going insane. Watching a cartoon that's pretty much about someone trying to go insane, just making sure each holiday is exactly equally represented and keep referring to it as such is really obnoxious. We get it, Ginger. You want to be fair to both holidays. That's cool, but you don't need to bring it up every 5 seconds. That last one isn't really a minor nitpick. It's pretty much the straw that makes me just not like this episode. I applaud the show because this is one of the very few Christmas specials that actually talks about religion, and talks about Judaism as well, not just Christianity. It speaks of both, and it does deal with the sensitive issue of trying to balance a world where most people celebrate one holiday, and not as many celebrate another one, and how do you celebrate the one without alienating the other people or offending them? I appreciate that it tried to tackle this issue, but I just don't feel like it pulled it off. There's also another stupid subplot about how Ginger's friends think that they're losing her just because she's converting to Judaism. I mean, what kind of message is that? If your friend changes religion and has less in common with you, then she'll definitely stop being your friend? But you know what? While I don't think it handles the one subject very well, the other fairly deep subject matter that it tries to take on, I think it handled perfectly. Ginger's estranged father. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I remember all the details of how this story arc came to be, or what the backstory is on why her dad actually doesn't show up. I don't know. I know they're divorced, but I don't know what his problem is, other than being an awkward weirdo. But that doesn't really matter, because Yeah, I'm sure there's some grander story arc going on, but the show presents it in such a way that all you need to know is that their dad is estranged from them, and that comes across very easily. It's actually strange that the touching and sad moment comes from Carl, who's always been the more cartoony of the main characters. The scene where he sees his dad for the first time in who knows how long is just so it's so sad and it's so real. They don't try to make it something it's not. They don't have it arbitrarily end on a happy ending where, oh, he's going to visit more often now. No, he's still kind of estranged, but for this one holiday, he actually came for just a brief while. And you can tell he wants to try, but something is holding him back. And there's one solid moment that I believe needs to be seen. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to make you watch this special. As much as I don't like the rest of it, there's just one moment, I want to call it a joke because it's funny, but it's also not funny. It is simultaneously a hilarious line, but also the saddest part of the father coming back. Just the disconnect between Carl and his dad. It's one line, it's one punchline even, but it's both serious, sad, and funny at the same time that it works so perfectly. And while I will say that I find the rest of the episode obnoxious and nothing like I remember as told by Ginger being, that one scene, that one moment between Carl and his father, it really just honestly makes it worthwhile. It makes it worth watching this special. As much as I don't like it, I'm sure a lot of you do. I'm sure a lot of you have fond memories of this episode. And I'm sure the nitpicks I have are stuff that's just gonna bother me and won't bother you. So I do advise you to check this episode out, if only for a very, very funny and sad moment that comes really towards the end. Honestly, if you wanted to just skip to that point, I don't even care, but I think that scene deserves to be watched. I'm really sorry, guys, if you like this episode. I really wanted to like it, and I do have fond memories of the show. Honestly, I just can't say I'm into it. So, if you want to watch a really funny and really sad scene, I urge you to check this out, but otherwise, I would just say give it a pass. I'm sure Nickelodeon isn't going to be airing it anytime soon. Pieguyrulz.